So I've been putting this video off a lot. I know what I want to talk about, but I really don't want to talk about it. But talking about it would be good for me. Let me kind of like express how I'm feeling, because I don't really know how I'm feeling. So I've decided to record this while I'm in quite a good mood. I just finished a talk at Programmed in Pencil, and I'll be uploading the video for that in the next couple of days. That was on API security. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I really messed up, but apparently people liked it, so it can only go up from here, right? Anyway, also I'm at my new desk layout. I'm struggling to get the camera in focus, so I hope this is okay, but it does that like cool thing where the background is blurred, so that's really cool. I've also got like a lamp here, but it looks weird if I like shine the light on me, kind of like I'm like a Halloween thing, but I'm gonna, it gives a little bit of light. Anyway, I hope the light's okay. I need to get one of those like circle things that, I don't know what they're called, but yeah, I need to get one of them. So anyway, what I'm going to talk to you about today is I had an appointment on the 22nd of this month. It's October and it's the 28th today, I think. Yeah, it's the 28th today. So what I'm going to talk about is something that started 2.5 years ago, about when a doctor referred me to have a mental health assessment, kind of. So I lived in Newport in South Wales, so they refer you to this place called Gold Tops, where you get like a psychological assessment. The doctor thought that I had autism, so I hadn't really thought about it up until then. I knew that I struggled with being obsessive. People had called me OCD quite a bit, and you know, I think I'm obsessive, but I'm not sure I'm compulsive, so I'm not sure I'd have OCD. And also people had made comments when I'd been very blunt, or struggled to understand sarcasm, or taken things completely literally. People had asked me, are you sure you're not autistic, or things like that. And you know, people shouldn't make comments like that anyway, but when I went to the doctor about a few of the issues that I was having that was making my life a nightmare since I moved out from my mum's house. I was struggling to live with my partner at the time. I was making his life a misery. I was very particular about how things needed to be in the flat, and it was one rule for him, one rule for me. So I could make things messy, but he couldn't, things like that, you know. And when I talked to the doctor about this, they suggested that it was probably ASD, and they said that a lot of women aren't diagnosed at a young age because they mask it, but that they thought there was a possibility that that I had it, and they wanted to get me referred to be tested. Anyway, what happened from there was I was referred to Gold Tops, and Gold Tops said that they felt that it was ASD too, so that was a psychiatric nurse and 2 other people were in the room during that exchange of information. So then I was referred by them. They put the referral letter through. That referral letter actually got rejected by the Integrated Autism Service, and they said there wasn't enough proof, and there wasn't enough foundation for them to refer me, put me on the waiting list. But they said that I was welcome to submit my own referral, which I did. I took a long time thinking about how I was and writing down all the things that I did that could have been linked to autism. And when I sent it off, I got a response saying I was on the waiting list, so that was accepted. From then on, I had a few issues in jobs that kind of solidified my my problems, mainly caused by them. and you know, I found lockdown really difficult because change is very difficult for me. Anyway, I had my ASD assessment on the 22nd of this month, so last Thursday. And after like 5 hours of talking to them about everything, they turned around and said that I wasn't autistic. You know, the difficult thing is that I have been identifying as autistic for over 2 years because I recognise those traits in myself, and a lot of people never get a diagnosis, and people are self-diagnosed a lot of the time. So this really isn't showing up as 4K. I need to get a better adapter. So before my camera battery ran out, because yeah, I did the whole programmed in pencil with it on, and I didn't have it plugged into the mains, and I should have. So it might only last another 5 minutes. But before that happened, I was saying that a lot of people online actually have a really difficult time getting diagnosed despite identifying as being autistic. For, you know, a good array of reasons. It's difficult to get diagnosed as a woman. Like, when I got the result, one of the first people I messaged was a friend of mine who I went to uni with, who was on the spectrum himself, and he said, it's possibly because you're a woman, it's really difficult to get a diagnosis. And I hope that's not the case. Anyway, what they said was that they don't doubt that I have all the symptoms I'm saying I have. So it's possible to have sensory overload without being autistic, and I am neurodiverse because I have dyslexia. That's also a diagnosis that I've had in the past year, which might have made a difference to the idea of me being dyslexic, because a lot of the things that I thought that were caused by autistic, a lot of the things that I thought were caused by me being autistic actually turned out to be covered in my dyslexia write-up. And I'd taken this write-up to the assessment on Tuesday because I did want it to be a thorough assessment. I did want to get the truth. So they said that they don't doubt that I have problems with OCD tendencies, and they don't doubt that I can't cope with change, and they don't doubt that I have sensory overload, and I'm very literal. I can't understand sarcasm. There are lots of things, but they said that they feel that they're not under the umbrella, and that my incapacity to deal with change comes from my anxiety, because I've recently been diagnosed with anxiety. So they said that that comes under the anxiety. They said that my inability to... Sorry, I was just going to say the same thing. But they said that there's a chance it might come from trauma from the last few years in the tech industry, with how difficult it's been, and some changes, large changes that happened during my young childhood years. Those changes might have affected my ability to deal with change. They explained everything, and they had a valid reason for every single thing that I struggle with. And they said they'd make sure that I got the help I needed for the chance of it being PTSD from past jobs. I don't have a diagnosis of PTSD, but there is a chance that my issues were heightened in the last few years, because I didn't struggle so much with these things before I left uni, and I thought it was because I lost my routine from university. but they feel it might actually be that I have trauma from job after job after job that went wrong, and blaming myself. So that also explains OCD tendencies, because I feel the need to control the things around me, because I don't have control over myself or my emotions or my own life. I feel like I don't have control, so I need to find control in something. And that's also where past disordered eating comes from when I was younger. And then obviously you can get sensory overload, like I said, linked to dyslexia and not autism, and the fact that I think different, which is evident, might be caused by the dyslexia and not autism. They said to me, in the long run, you're going to be thankful that you don't have this diagnosis and you don't have autism. Obviously I didn't believe them. I'd been researching autism for a long time, and I ticked all the boxes, and I still don't understand exactly what it is that makes someone autistic. Because if you tick all the boxes, what is it that makes someone autistic? Because all they can do is map out the symptoms and say whether they match. But it seems to me that because I have a reason for all the symptoms other than autism, that it doesn't come from autism. Which makes me question, what if it is from autism, but they're just using the other reasons as scapegoats? So I'm really confused about the whole thing. And I feel guilty for identifying as being autistic for 2 years. People think that I am, people look up to me who are also autistic, because I am. Like, I have all the symptoms, just maybe because of, other disorders. Just makes me feel like I'm an imposter to, there's a whole society out there just for autistic people, where people can talk to each other, there's Facebook groups and forums, and I posted on there, and they've said, if you don't have a formal diagnosis, if you've got all the symptoms, you're welcome here. And I know I'm welcome there, but I just feel like an imposter there, because I kind of believe them. The question is, what is autism? I have no idea, because I have all the symptoms associated with autism other than being empathic. And when I asked them, why aren't I? They said, when we asked you if you could tell if someone was upset, you said you could most of the time. I said, but I struggle sometimes. They said yes. But when we asked you how you'd figure out if someone was upset, you said you'd put yourself in their shoes and you'd wonder how you felt. They said, and an autistic person can't do that. They also said that 80% of the people who have been diagnosed in, I don't know how many years, they said have been misdiagnosed. So a lot of people who are currently classed as being on the spectrum wouldn't get a diagnosis these days if they went for one. So maybe 20 years ago, if I went for an assessment, which, I was 4 years old, and I was, they said that because I hit all the milestones early, like my mum said I was a genius when I was little. I even taught myself to potty train. They said that I can't be autistic because I hit all the milestones. But I know of very clever autistic people. So would they not be diagnosed these days? It's just difficult. And yes, I'm drinking, so it makes it easier to talk about this. But it's raspberry vodka and Coke, if anyone's wondering. It's just, I've identified as being autistic, and a lot of people look up to me and follow me because I'm someone who is supposedly doing okay despite being autistic, but I'm not. You know, I'm not autistic and I'm not okay. Like, having the dyslexia diagnosis explained a lot. But now I don't need a diagnosis to understand who I am, but it's just when you finally find a reason for being different and have it taken away from you, it's a little bit difficult. A lot difficult. God, sorry. So anyway, they asked me how I felt about diagnosis, or not lack of diagnosis, and I said to them that I disagreed with them, that I felt that I was autistic, and they then said that I had a right to a second opinion. So I can't remember the name of it, but the method of testing that they used, is 95% accurate. So there's 2 of them that did it, and they both agreed on that method. They did miss out a lot of questions though, but they said it was quite obvious by how much I talked, how much I knew, how intelligent I was. So if I get a second opinion from the same people, then that's 4 people. That doubles the, I can't do the math right now, but you know, that doubles the chance of it being correct. I don't know how many times I'd have to be assessed to get close to 99%, but it's 95% right now, and then I think it would probably go to something like 97 if I had another 2. But I think I feel so upset because I've led people on to believe that I am, and I really thought that I was. I'm sorry. But the question is, if somebody has all the symptoms that someone who is autistic has, and they're struggling with all the same things, despite what causes it, because for me well, according to them, it's trauma. Despite what causes it, are we not all in the same boat? I don't really know. So I did tell them that I was going to, you know, keep trying until I got a diagnosis, but I feel like I need to know more about what exactly autism is before I do that. And you know, they weren't psychologists, they were psychologists, they weren't psychiatrists, you know, they didn't have a doctor, they weren't doctors. You know, would a doctor be more likely to figure it out? I need to talk to someone who actually knows, who actually researches autism to know whether I am or not. You know, I've never been wrong about my own mental health. I've always known, you know, how to cope, how to make myself better. You know, that's why I've never really got much help, is that I was told I was so strong as a person that I never needed help because I always bounced back. There's only so much you can pick yourself up. I don't know if I am. It made me feel like I don't know who I am. You know, they said I can get all the help for my symptoms without getting the diagnosis, which is completely different to what the original doctor said. They said that I needed the ASD diagnosis before I could get help with anything. Well, the integrated autism service. And I think I forgot to say that I was on the list for Newport for like ages, and then I moved to Cardiff, and then I was put to the back of the Cardiff list. And I think I spent a year on the Newport list and then a year and a half on the Cardiff list, which really sucks. But you know, I'd even spoken to people to the help at uni about it, and they'd said that they didn't actually say whether they thought I was or not. They said that they were going to take the word of the psychiatric nurse because they were more do you know, when you actually believe that you've got something wrong with you, you get kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy and things get worse. In the past week, I found it easier to do things, like just random things, like actually getting shit done, than the last 2 years. Because the last 2 years, I believed that I had something wrong with me that could never go away. You know, I was told that the symptoms you have with autism, you can work on them and you can alleviate them, which I think means to lessen them but not make them go away. Might mean to make them go away, if so, that's the wrong word. But if I'm not autistic and if these symptoms are caused by trauma, then I can work on this and I can actually maybe one day get over it completely. My mum was over the moon. She was terrified of the fact that I was autistic. Like, she was like, at first she was like, oh, you want to pass it on to your kids? And I was like, Mum, I'll pass it on to my kids. I've got 3 cousins who are autistic. Like 3 first cousins who are autistic. No, I don't. I've got 1 first cousin who is autistic and 2 second cousins who are autistic. No, they're my second cousin's kids, so they're third cousins. Anyway, there's a lot of autism in the family. So there's a chance of me passing it down, but it's a gift anyway, whether I have it or not. The people who have it, it's a gift. But, you know, I'm neurodiverse because I have dyslexia. But, you know, they taught me something like really interesting. You know, not everyone's on the spectrum. You're either on the spectrum or you're not. You're either autistic or you're not. It's like binary. You're 1 or you're a 0. So if you're autistic, you're a 1. If you're not, you're a 0. So they think I'm a 0, right? Everyone who's autistic is a 1. But then, if you're in the 1 is then a spectrum. So think of the 1 being an array then, and then that's the spectrum. But there's not a spectrum for the 0. Well, there probably is, because then you've got the neurodiverse people who are like dyspraxic, dyslexia, all of that, and hey, so I'm now actually a 3rd drink down. The one you just saw me down was my 2nd drink. And I've just watched over the whole of the other videos, and I just want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It's been a difficult week for me and a lot of self-discovery, and even though I'm 3 drinks down, I'm actually feeling a little bit better after watching it. You know, no more tears or anything, but I've done this video because I did CBT about in 2018 I think it was, and it was with Newport Mind. It was free counselling. They're great, and when I finished my counselling, they said, why don't you try blogging? They said it would really help you get your head around exactly what you're struggling with. So that's the purpose of this video. It's not really for you guys. I know it might help some of you and you might enjoy it, but this is really for me. So anyway, as the ending of all videos, if you've enjoyed this, please consider giving to my Ko-fi or my Patreon. Links will be down below. If you're struggling with any of the issues talked about in this video, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be interested in speaking to you. I want to help everyone I can. And if you're a psychologist or psychiatrist and you're interested in talking to me about it, about whether I am or not, or to actually explain to me what it is autism is, then I'd really appreciate you reaching out to me. Thank you, and have a lovely day, guys.